Hi, I'm Ben Wanless. I do customer success operations at Menlo Security. And one of my favorite interview questions to ask is in the past year, what's a project that you're particularly proud of? And let me know what you accomplished and why. The reason why I like this question is it gives the interviewee an opportunity to show me how excited they are about the work that they've done and what they like about their work.
Hey there, my name is Parul Bhandari, and I'm the CEO of Customer X Success and the founder of South Asian Success. My favorite interview question goes something like this. Tell me about a time that a customer came to you and told you they were unsatisfied with the level of service that they had received. And what did you respond? How did you respond? And what did you do about it? And I really think it's a great question because it's pretty specific on customer not being satisfied and allows somebody to elaborate on some concrete action that they took and share a resolution and really trying to understand how they took that customer scenario and turned it into a positive.
Hey, I'm Brady Bluhm from Gainsight. In my Gainsight interview process, they had me make a pitch deck where I talked about Gainsight and went through some key values. So I made a slide deck, and because it's Gainsight, I added GIFs and things like that. And the third slide, I think it was, I had led into it and saying, now what you really want to know is this. And it was the GIF of Arnold Schwarzenegger from Kindergarten Cop, but the sound wasn't working on it because it was a video, not a GIF, and or GIF, sorry. And so because the video wasn't working, I was like, well, whatever. I'll just do it. Who is your daddy and what does he do? And so I did that, and I've gotten feedback from one of the people on it that once I did that, they're like, you got to hire this guy. Like, you got to hire him. We want him working here.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Renee Knowles, and I just started as a hero, which is basically a customer success manager / account manager for a company called Upswing.io, which provides things like virtual tutoring, assignment review, student engagement tools to help colleges retain more non-traditional students. And my favorite interview question, or rather interview part of the process, was that when my company interviewed me, instead of doing a final presentation for the last round, they actually had me meet with the culture committee, and all of the questions were around how I believed in their mission, how I wanted to support helping more students make it through college. And so that helped them get to know me and how much I relate to their mission, and it helped me understand how important that was to them. So I encourage, I just think it's great when companies shake it up and do something that proves what's most important to them. In this case, for Upswing, it was their mission.
Hello, my name's Adil Dittmer. I'm head of customer success at Testbox. And my favorite interview question I've ever been asked is, what's an item in my kitchen that I identify with and why? I obviously had to go with my air fryer because it is something that I want to use every day, but I don't. And I know that when I'm not, I'm missing out on all the value I get from it. So it's a really good opportunity to show that I really understood the ability of having a really valuable tool that I use to get everything I needed out of it.
All right, my favorite interview question is, what animal would you be and why? Main reason, it kind of throws you off a little bit. They're typically not prepared, so we want to see if they can think on their feet. And two, it's fun. And also, we want to see if they can accurately describe themselves using a fun question. So my answer to that question is, I would be a cheetah because I'm fast yet stylish.
Hi, I'm Rachel Provan of the Customer Success Leadership Academy. I coach new customer success leaders. And my favorite interview question is, what's a common misconception about you? And I love this because it tests for self-awareness. And if it's a misconception, it's usually something they don't want. So what are they doing about it? Now, I'm aware that this is a jerky question to ask. And I tell them this. I'm like, look, this is kind of a jerk question. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a minute, and then I'm going to answer it myself too, because I don't think it's fair for me to ask you to be that vulnerable and not give you something back. So that's how I do that one. And people are always like, look, this isn't make or break. This is a curiosity, and it gives me some interesting insight into people.
So the one question I would say that was very important and very difficult for me to answer was, why did you transition from a career path which I already had pretty set in my life and moving to becoming a CSM? So though the question seems to be pretty easy to like ask, the interviewee has to make sure that that person is very sure of their story, of what exactly they want to talk about, because there could be a chance that you may fumble and not be sure of what you want to say, and the interviewer will immediately understand that you are not sure, and you might again go back to being a lawyer, or maybe go back to being what you were. So this is a very critical question, though it sounds pretty easy.
So one of my favorite things to ask a candidate as I'm going through the hiring process is to ask them about a project that they've recently been a part of, whether I'm just asking more broadly of, hey, tell me about a project that you've been involved in, or maybe saying, hey, tell me about something, a project that you were involved in that you're really proud of. As I listen to them, I like to ask more questions as I kind of follow up and tap into it a little bit further to say like, hey, what surprised you as you're going through this project? Or what other teams or roles did you work with throughout this project? What was your role in the project? I find that this is a really good way to understand the person, not just in like this kind of typical sense of the role that I'm hiring them for, but also a little bit more on the personal side of, what excites them? What is it that they like to be a part of? What are the typical roles that they take on? And I feel like that just gives me a little bit more insight into them on a little bit more of a personal level than just asking them specifically about the role that they're interviewing for.
What is the thing I am the most proud of in my career so far? So, I mean, it tells the answer tells you a lot, right?
Hi, I'm Alex. My craziest interview situation was I had to take a test that was like the SAT, and then the small number of people that passed the test somehow were called into a room, and we had to pretend we were celebrities. And between the few of us in the group, we had to decide which celebrity was worth keeping on the raft to make it down the river.
I'm Jan Young. I'm the founder and CCO of Jan Young CX. I do consulting, coaching, and I build courses. Also have a community called CX Exchange. I primarily work with CS leaders and help them step up to become business leaders. My favorite interview question is the most vague question you always get. It's, so tell me about yourself. Which is to say, you get a blank canvas. And that's when you get to show who you are and all of the research you've done to connect who you are and your journey to this company and how you are there with them now. And you get actually the opportunity, if you're fully prepared, to blow them away. So I love the vague questions where you get to form and sort of step up and provide that structure. It shows them that you know who you are, you know who they are, that you know what you're going to do with them. But it also allows you to turn, what I also love about it then is the opportunity to turn the tables around and start to ask questions with them. Not only then do you get to start to really build a relationship and a rapport, but really connect with them and have a conversation with them, as opposed to it being an interview situation. I think anytime, and this would be not just for CS leaders, but for CSMs, anytime you're in an interview situation, you want to turn it into a conversation. You want to help them understand what it's going to be like when you're working with customers for the first time. That's a high pressure situation where you haven't met them before. So now they can see how you respond in high pressure situations. But then you also get to connect with them as a person, and they get to see you as a colleague and how they're going to be working with you, and they start to imagine that. So give me a vague question anytime.